Hello Physical Fiends, it is Jordan here with November's biggest physical releases. This is a top 10 of my choosing, taking into account hype levels, importance, and also a dollop of my own personal tastes. Let's see what we've got for this month. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. I should probably start with this one since it's releasing very soon. In fact, it was in Monday's video that just went out. Probably the biggest Nintendo Switch 2 release this month, if I'm trying not to be biased. This has you protecting some bestial relationship between a goat king and a human woman. You know, this Ganon, he may have been right all along. Maybe this was a citizen's arrest that kind of got out of hand for continuous generations. I don't know. But forget all that, because what we've got here is your classic hack and slash goodness. Dynasty Warriors, but with Zelda, and goat people, and rock people, and fish people. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun mashing buttons, taking down hordes of enemies, and it'll actually probably run well on the Switch 2, where the other games in the genre haven't been so good on the Switch 1. They definitely struggled at times. Kirby Air Riders is another Switch 2 title that's going to be a big one. Honestly, I don't know if I can guess which one is going to be bigger between Hyrule Warriors or Kirby Air Riders. You got a hack and slash in a first-tier Nintendo franchise and an accessible racer in a second-tier Nintendo franchise. No offense to Kirby there, the good little boy, but Sakurai is back in his first game since Smash, and a sequel to a 20-year-old cult classic. I played the original a couple of years ago and I loved it, and this looks like it's even bigger and better. At least I watched the first direct, not the second one. I'm hoping they decided against the climax of City Trial. It seemed, incredibly flawed, even more so compared to the original, which was already quite flawed. But outside of that, it looks like this game is gonna be perhaps having more longevity with a hardcore audience compared to Mario Kart World. Who knows? This is releasing on November the 20th, exclusively on Nintendo Switch 2. And if you want it, or any of the games featured in this video, then please purchase them via the links in the description and pinned comment. That massively helps support me and this channel in the best way possible, and I do truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. VGP are a really nice company, and they have free worldwide shipping on orders over 75 Canadian bucks, which is like 54 American dollars, not that much. Hades 2 is releasing physically on Nintendo Switch and, very importantly, Nintendo Switch 2 as a Switch 2 edition, meaning the Switch 2 cartridge will be compatible with the original system. The game was a massive hit when it came out of early access a couple of months back, a game so good my colleagues won't stop talking to me about it, and they have questioned my credibility as a gaming content creator because I've never played it. I've watched them play it, and it looks exactly why a million other games have tried to copy the formula in the past few years. As far as I'm aware, the difference between the Switch Edition and the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is purely graphical and performance-wise, with the Switch 2 having up to 120 frames per second. I don't even move at 120 frames per second, wow! And this is releasing on November 20th, the same day as Kirby. Call of Duty Black Ops 7, whether you want to admit it or not, is gonna be a big release, probably the biggest release this month. It's cool to hate, but you can't pretend those sales numbers don't exist, even if they are falling. I just can't believe we got to Black Ops 7. It only seems like a couple of years ago, me and my mate were skiving off uni lectures to split-screen Black Ops 1 online. Really good times. I have not kept up with the series since then, but it's almost comical now. 7! And I think they've gone to the future again, which didn't play out too well when they did that the last time with whatever it was called. It remains to be seen how much of the game is actually on the disc, if any at all. So purchase with caution if you care about that. But me, when it comes to primarily online games, it doesn't bother me so much. And the story modes for these tend to be really tacked on now. But it is releasing on November the 14th. Terminator 2D No Fate was clever enough to delay its original end of October release date until the end of this month. Very wise, considering October was packed, whereas November, it's going to be a bit easier on the wallet. This is a great looking 2D pixel game, mostly a platformer that appears to be doing the franchise quite a bit of justice. Of course, we will have to wait for the game to come out to actually be sure of its quality, but pretty much everyone who saw the trailer had their eyes widen. Visually, it's impeccable, and there is a risk that it could be style over gameplay substance, but let's keep optimistic. This release is coming in a mandatory mini collector's edition, as well as a rather expensive collector's edition, which comes with a lot of stuff, including a steelbook, and it's releasing November 26. Before I get into the latter half of this video, if you're new here and you love physical video games, you want to support the industry, physical media, stuff like that, then subscribe to this channel. I'm a great usable resource for you, and I promise you my voice is not normally this stuffy and nasally. I have a very bad cold right now. Plus, the bigger this channel is, the more publishers will pay attention to the demand for physical media, so do your bit and subscribe. Blue Prince is one of those indie darlings that seems to have passed me by. It released digitally on PS5, and me as a Switch-focused channel, the lack of a Switch version definitely made me ignore it more than I should, since the game is incredibly well loved. A sales phenomenon that's billed as the latest mind-blowing indie puzzle game with loads of variety and weirdness. Exploration, mystery, and investigation are the orders of the day. You definitely need to be paying attention to get past some of the puzzles presented here, and it seems there's some randomness in there which I don't quite get. I am interested in playing it though. I wonder why there is no Switch version. Is the game just that heavy duty? Let me know if you've played it, and let me know if it's good. It's releasing physically on PlayStation 5 on November the 21st. Crow Country is another one that was featured in Monday's video, with it releasing this week, but honestly, I think this is a strong contender in terms of best indie games releasing physically this month. The game sold extremely well digitally. I'm sure the two brothers that made it can now retire to a private island. So what if that private island is in Siberia? It's an island! And it's well deserved because it is a game I've been waiting patiently for a physical release of, and it's an homage to classic survival horror games. It's got a cuteness to it, and while it's not archaic, I don't think it's too pandering modern-y either. It's a game with a nice balance for what makes the genre so inviting. It's releasing physically on Switch and PlayStation 5 on the 7th. Okay, the next 3 games are import exclusives. They are not releasing physically in the West, at least that we know of. Atelier Ryza DX Trilogy is going to be a very big release when it comes to imports, that is. It's also very complicated. I did make 2 videos about this already, which may have only added to the confusion because, firstly, if you only saw one and not the other, you wouldn't get the full lowdown. And at that time, I was suffering from a pretty bad fever, so I was just like hallucinating and stuff. Maybe I wasn't as clear as I could have been. So maybe I will make a new complete video closer to release, which is November the 13th. In Japan and Asia, you can play these in English on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. They are being sold individually, or you can buy a bundle. If you want the Switch version in English, you have to buy the Southeast Asian version specifically, which I am led to believe is all 3 games on one cartridge. It is a bit complicated, but you are getting enhanced versions of some really sweet JRPGs, perhaps the best in the Atelier series. They have more content in terms of story, features, loads of stuff going on. It is a bit controversial, but if you are a newcomer, it's certainly a package to pick up. ACA Neo Geo Selections Volume 7 and 8. I'm slightly cheating here, I suppose, since this is technically 2 physical releases, but I will include them in one entry since you're more than likely to purchase both rather than one or the other. In fact, looking at my affiliates with VGP and Play Asia, each volume has pretty much the exact same sales numbers, so you know what you're getting here. I talked about this already on Monday, but together you're getting 20 mostly pretty good arcade games, a wealth of fighters interspersed with a variety of other genres. With these 2 packages in particular, they look like they've got equal amounts of quality too, like I wouldn't be able to choose between them. They're releasing in Japan and Asia with English. Lover, Kiss, Endless Memories is a bit of a left field choice. While on the whole it's going to be quite niche, there's no doubt in my mind that the fact that this game is finally getting an English release, it's a big deal for the visual novel and perv community. It may not be the biggest import of the year, it probably won't even break the top 10, but something tells me it's going to be a long-term import where over time it will be one of the bigger releases. A rather unique genre mix of visual novel and photography, this is an enhanced re-release of a game I covered back when I was still at Switch Watch, a short video series called Japanese Gems. Now that version did not have English, but this re-release with extra stuff, against all odds, will have English. It's coming in a standard edition as well as a collector's edition, which comes with an acrylic stand, an art book, and a DLC code for what I presume are different outfits for the ladies, and it's releasing November 27th on Switch. And there we have my 10 biggest physical releases for November. Which ones are you looking forward to? And which ones do you think I should have added? And which ones should I have ejected from this video? I can already see Love a Kiss and the Neo Geo stuff. I know you're eyeing that up for like rejection, but let me know. And if you watched all the way through, be sure to leave me a robot emoji in honor of the Terminator. Termy is back. Why did I just call him Termy? Oh my god. They're gonna make a children's cartoon out of it. Anyways, have a great day. Take care.